As we enter the home of Archimedes and Pythagoras, we learn that there's something wrong with the counting here, in that they didn't send a bus big enough to fit us all. Somebody ran out of fingers and toes, or it's possible there's something wrong with the Greek numbering system. I don't know. We are now waiting for another bus because there wasn't enough room on the ones they sent. So, where's Pythagoras when you need him?
So our first stop is the Paleo-Castritsa Monastery. We're on the west side of the island. Look how beautiful it is. Those monks really knew how to locate a monastery. There's a cannon over on the right. They must have had to fight off some pirates from time to time. This is a beautiful place. It is Monday, June 17th, 2024. We're on the Ultimate World Cruise, and that sign is all Greek to me. I could not read it. Anyway, this monastery was built in the 15th century sometime. And architecture is beautiful. Site's beautiful. It was a beautiful day. Probably high 70s, low 80s. And such a gorgeous location. Now, our guide told us something about the origination of the name Bougainville, but this place was covered with it, and it was so bright and beautiful, just amazing. Here's the bell tower, courtyard. I learned something about not drinking the water at monasteries in Greece the last time we were here, because it took me about 3 days to get over what I got. There's a little well right there in the middle of the courtyard, which we did not consume water from. Anyway, the highlight of any monastery is the church, and so we're going to go into that church in just a second here. And our guide, Alex, was very well versed in the architecture and the art and the religious icons inside the church. Gave us a little bit of a drink out of a fire hose. And it went in one ear of mine and out the other, so I'm not going to be able to show you much. Just a picture of the church here. So he did mention that there's one difference in these churches in the Ionian Sea area. They have flat roofs instead of arched domed roofs in the chapels. So see the flat roof up there? There's Alex over on the left, explaining about the artwork and the religious artifacts that are in there. It was a functional church, and there were people in there worshiping, so we had to kind of keep quiet and not disturb those worshiping. They'd take our hats off and show respect for being inside the church. So just look at the view from up here. It was just breathtaking. Looks like a postcard. So, monks did a good job picking that location. Now, exiting the monastery, some really cool arches covered with flowers, and again, we're going to go into that beautiful pink-red bougainvillea. It was amazing. Now, our tour was a little bit of a foodie tour. We had 2 stops to try some Greek food, some Corfunian food. And the first stop was for appetizers, and then we went over to a restaurant on the other side of the island for the main course. This is a stop for the appetizers. Look at that that grapevine that's up above there. That thing is something to be proud of. Gave me some ideas for what I might do with mine at home. Beautiful outdoor place. Enjoyed the appetizers, fresh olives and olive oil and bread and cheese. It was amazing. That's a fort out there on top of that little mound of rock. That was on our way to the restaurant here. I didn't film while we're eating, but it was another outdoor restaurant and perfect day for this. It was just so enjoyable. And we had not only Greek, there's bread and olives and cheese and tzatziki and some local dishes that are unique to Corfu. And then this is the, after we ate, we were passing by this spot, which is 5 miles from the Albanian coast. So you're looking at the country of Albania over there because we're on the north side of the island heading back south to where the port is. But that's Albania over there, about 5 miles away. And then our next stop was Old Town part of Corfu, and it really has a European, actually mostly French. It was built during the French part of the occupation, and then after the Battle of Waterloo, the British took over and I guess finished it, but it seems like a lot of French architecture in there. Beautiful square, colored buildings, just gorgeous. There's 4 churches right close to this central square here. You can see the steeple for one in the background there. And then there's the one on the right, the yellow building is also with the green door there. That's also a church. So we're going to walk back down the main street again towards 2 forts. There's an old fort and a new fort used for defending the island, actually defending the strait between Albania and Greece and the island of Corfu. So we stopped at a place and got some gelato that was really good. And people were shopping at some of these shops on the way. Very pedestrian-friendly place. There's a guy back there playing the accordion. It's so nice. Outdoor cafes line the streets. I should mention there's the population of the island of Corfu is about 120,000 regulars plus the tourists that they get. And it is quite a tourist attraction because it's such a pleasant place. Water, however, is about 65 degrees, 64, 65. So it's pretty cold. Maybe the folks here are used to swimming in it, but yeah, I don't like getting in unless it's around 70. But we're headed back to the 2 forts, and you're going to be able to see the old fort from this perspective, and the new fort you can't see until the short video that's a time lapse that shows us leaving. And I didn't catch what year these forts were built, probably the 1400s or maybe even the 1300s, I don't know. But this city down, the old city of Corfu is known for this public square. That building you see at the end down there was built and where the British High Commissioner lived when the British were ruling the island. And there you can see is the view towards Old Town where we just came from. So this park or square has a place at the other end where the orchestra has like a gazebo down there to have music in the park in the evenings sometimes with the orchestra. And I'm going to focus on the fort in just a minute. There's the High Commissioner's house. And there's the fort that we're going to walk over to and check out. Oh, this is the old fort. It's separated from the island by a moat and a bridge. And reminds me a lot of the fort that we saw in Serbia near Novi Sad when we were there. So, and then I thought it was interesting. The moat is now filled up with boats. So there's a bunch of folks mooring their boats to the side of the canal down there that connects to the marina. Over on the right, you see the marina. And our ship is docked over to the left. And you'll see that. I got a time-lapse video of Serenade of the Seas leaving the port. And in that, you'll be able to see a glimpse of the new fort. But it was a beautiful day. We enjoyed it. Headed to Bari, Italy tomorrow.